So as you can see there in the pinned comment, here we are, episode 3. This is awesome. We have a 27-year-old that we're featuring today. She's a paralegal in St. Louis, Missouri. She is currently renting an apartment there. She earns $50,000 a year from her paralegal role, and then she's also a veteran, and she's earning veteran benefits. She's eager to start investing. Okay, so you're going to kind of see as I lay out her situation, how close she is to investing, some things that we need to tackle and take care of before she can start. And I'll be able to show you a money calendar in this one. We've got lots of good stuff today. So let's just jump in. I like to start by giving you an idea of where things stand for 3 major areas in our featured individuals' finances, those being debt, savings, and investing. All right, I'm just zooming in on the YouTube side. Perfect. Okay, so this is the debt snapshot. So what do we have going on for our St. Louis, Missouri paralegal here? So she has a Subaru auto loan and pretty hefty payment there for that, over $800. Okay, so that's where we're starting off, but I won't get into her business, but she did let me know there's been some debt troubles with ex-partners and credit building and things like this. So this is where we stand with her car payment. She has 3 credit cards, okay? A couple of these Capital One cards, those balances, we're gonna be able to take care of those like right away. All right, that's not too bad. But the Amex is about $1,600. Okay, so we've got the 1 auto loan and we've got 3 credit cards. We don't have a mortgage because she's renting, and we don't have student loans or other types of debt. This is what we're looking at. This is similar to what you saw if you were here for the first couple episodes, where we have some credit card debt, not a huge amount, but it's there and we need to address it because the interest on these is going to get outrageous really fast. So that's her debt snapshot. When we look at what she pays month to month, this is the next piece that we need to take a look at, because this is going to tell us how much we need to be saving for her emergency fund, which is the most important savings effort that we have. So we like to list out here all of the things that she's going to pay in a given month. All right, I mentioned she's renting. We've got some subscriptions. We've got her credit card minimum payments here. All right, nothing too crazy. Again, you know, there's the large auto loan payment, but aside from that, I mean, the rent is within reason. I wonder if she might be, she might have roommates, okay, based on the price here, but housing very affordable, and nothing else really gives me pause there. And we've marked what is a need. Okay, so the needs among these bills and other fixed expenses. And then we like to capture the variable spending that she typically does in a given month. Oh, awesome. And yes, please bring comments in if you have them. I see one there. It says, I'm just getting started on my journey. I'm so scared, but so excited. Love these lives. Oh my goodness. I'm glad you're enjoying the lives. I'm having fun with these too. As a side note, I'm in Tampa, and you need to check on your Florida friends, because we're preparing for Tropical Storm Helene, I think is what we're calling this one, which is probably going to turn into a Hurricane Cat 3. So it's fine. We're fine. But I just really wanted to make sure today's live happened. So here I am. No regrets. Okay. So here is her variable spending. She doesn't have pets, really just like food and gas for her car. And these are monthly estimates for what she would spend in these areas. These are all needs. Okay. Now that then kind of spills over into the next worksheet, which is the emergency fund, the most important savings effort that we have. And so what we want to do is calculate, we want to add together all of those things that we checked as a need. And when we do that, in her case, 362520, when we add together all of her necessary expenses, the non-negotiables, this is what she's looking at for 1 month. Now her current balance of her emergency fund, so she's actually gotten started here, $1,353.52. This is good. All right, we're not quite at 1 month of expenses saved. which is really that first milestone, right? To me, that's that starter goal is 1 month. So we're going to copy over 1 month would be that 3625.20. It's the same figure as what we had up here. So here's our current balance, and then here's 1 month of expenses saved. That's our starter emergency fund goal. And then we're going to keep going because a healthy emergency fund lies somewhere between 3 and 6 months of expenses saved. So I even write it here inside of the planner when to know, like how to know which end of the spectrum you might fall on. 3 months is better when we're talking about somebody who's single, renting, right? Like no kids, pretty, reliable industry and job and things like this. So she really kind of matches that description. I think 3 months is a great goal for her. And so when we do that math to say, well, here's 1 month, let's multiply that times 3, we would get 10,875.60. So this is her kind of full emergency fund goal. All right, so that's why I kind of start us with the master bill list, is because those things that we mark as a need, they bleed over into the emergency fund. All right, which is a nice transition to savings in general. That emergency fund, that is actually the only bucket that she has. Now, she's gotten started. Okay, this is great, but we don't have any other buckets. She is renting, so she doesn't need to set up a home maintenance bucket, but we really do need to have a car maintenance bucket. That is something that no matter what, like car maintenance costs are coming in. Like they will be a reality. There will be the oil changes. There will be even things like the annual registration and things like that you could use this bucket for. So we want to set that up. And then she mentioned when she applied to be featured that holidays, okay, we're kind of fresh on her mind too. And yeah, we're starting to get into, we're almost to Q4. So it makes sense why that's top of the brain. And let's set up a bucket for that as well. Beautiful. Okay, so we know as far as debt, she's got an auto loan, she's got 3 credit cards. Savings wise, we're off to a good start with the emergency fund, but that's the only bucket that she has. And the last piece that I want us to kind of explore, but I'll just put it here on the screen, is that she doesn't have any investments at the moment. Okay, it's at 0. She doesn't have investment accounts set up. Her employer does not offer a match if she were to be contributing to the plan with her employer. So she's sitting at 0, but she's very eager to learn, eager to see what we could do here and in what order to tackle these goals. All right, so that's where things stand with her. Now, I took the time this time around to put together a money calendar. I'm gonna have to zoom out so you can see more of this. This is a money calendar, and it captures paydays, bills listed on the day that they're due, all right, those subscriptions, things like that. She is always paid on the 1st and the 15th. That's what these little corner stickers are. Okay, she's always paid on the 1st and the 15th. So I've marked those there. And then maybe you saw a couple of these on her master bill list, but I put bills on the day that they're due. This is where I love to start with creating a budget, because I'm a visual person and it's just nice to see like, okay, here is how my money is going to move. And this is for the month of October. Okay. So we filled in the dates, we marked her paydays, we've got all of her bills listed on the day that they're due. Okay, and it's helpful to have a checklist of all the things that should work their way into your money calendar, and we can just check these off and make sure. Special events and holidays, okay, travel is something to put on here because these things are all going to impact your money, but let's say none of that is applicable right now. We've got a goal here of paying off both Capital One cards in October, and there's space for a couple more goals. But this is the starting point. Once you kind of know your money, you know what your typical income looks like and when it comes in, and then you know your bills and how your money needs to flow out. This is a nice visual snapshot of what's going to happen over the month. So the most efficient way to budget is based on when you're paid. That is to say, a payday kicks off a new budget. So every single month, she's going to have a budget that runs from the 1st through the 14th. That'll be one budget. And her second one will be from the 15th through the end of the month. So she is paid semi-monthly, twice a month. She's going to run 2 budgets per month. All right, so that's what it means to budget based on when you're paid. Let's jump in. October, the first half of the month. Okay, zooming in on both sides here. The first half of the month, let me know if I need to zoom in more. All right, she's a paralegal. She lives in St. Louis. It's kind of reminding us of that context. Here's her paycheck on the 1st. She receives veteran benefits, okay, VA disability on the 1st. Okay, so that's why this is going to show up in this budget. This is the income that falls within this time frame. She mentioned that she earns anywhere from $0 to $200 per month for modeling gigs. So I have a placeholder here for modeling. She told me that in some months it could be 0 that she earns from modeling. And so I don't want to put 200 there or just put some random number there. I want to put kind of the low end of what she would earn, like a reliable minimum. And if that's 0, then I'm just going to put a placeholder. Okay. If she happens to bring in some modeling income between the 1st and the 14th, she'll put it here as what she actually earned. And then she can further, move on with her financial goals even more than she expected to. But for right now, we're just going to basically say we expect 0 from that, just so we can budget more safely with our numbers here. So 35.92.40 is what we're working with for this 2-week time frame. The first thing that we need to list out are expenses. So bills, those things with a due date, and then variable spending as well. So all of that is captured here. Rent, Spotify, phone storage, internet. There's her car loan there. We've got her variable spending captured. And then I always like to include a cushion right here up front in the expenses block. This cushion is basically there to catch slight overspending that might happen maybe in these areas. And it can also catch small unexpected expenses. All right. So if she, I don't know, maybe she loaned money to a friend and it was $20, $40 or something like that, or there was some small expense, maybe an oil change. This could cover small things like that. We need this because every single bit of this is going to be given a role. It's going to be given something to do. So we need some space. We need a cushion. That's what that is. So with all those added up, it's about $27.40. And it leaves her, when we take her income here and we subtract all that, we get about $850. So every first half of the month, she has about $850 left to work with, to work towards financial goals and things like that. So the first half of the month is always going to look like this. Her 2 budgets a month look identical every single month because she's always paid on the 1st and the 15th. So the 1st or the 14th always has these bills. The 15th through the end of the month always has the other set of bills. That's what's nice about being paid semi-monthly. Okay. So there's that $850 left. So what is it that we want to do? I mentioned that with her emergency fund, she's got like $1,350 saved so far, but we've got some work to do still. All right. That's not even 1 month of expenses saved. So we're going to go ahead and nurture this. We're going to go ahead and put $250 in the emergency fund. And then the extra debt payment section is where we put additional dollars beyond the minimum. Here's the minimum towards our credit cards. We're going to pay more so that we can crush them faster. So right here, she's going to pay off the Capital One and she's going to pay off the Capital One Platinum right now in the first half of October. And then with what's left, she's going to put extra towards the Amex. The Amex, just because I know it's difficult to remember every little detail here. The Amex current balance is about $1,600. So this isn't going to pay it off, but it's going to get us in the right direction. We've got some work to do to get this down to 0. And with this going on, we've now budgeted down to 0. We gave every dollar a job. That's crucial with budgeting. It's called zero-based budgeting. It doesn't mean her account is going to go to zero. It means we gave every dollar something to do. So right away, paying off those Capital One cards. Now this is aggressive. Okay, the 8-part budget, as you can see in the title, I mean, it has 8 parts, and we're just kind of living in 1, 2, and 3 right now. But in instances where credit cards are at play, this really is what it's going to look like. In the first 2 examples, the first 2 episodes, you saw me kind of leave a little bit after the financial goals and then split some spending money for each person. I think and this is a little bit deeper, kind of client work, budgeting 2.0 or 3.0, but I think in the cases of when someone is single and they budget by themselves, this level of like rigidity and aggression and just saying like, okay, we're going hard at these 3 things is easier to implement when you're the only stakeholder in the budget. But with couples, that's not the case. The odds that I'm going to sit across from a couple and both of them are going to be very gung-ho about, we're just going to go at it. We're going to do the things that we're supposed to do. It's going to be a short-term grind for the next 6 months, 12 months, whatever that might be. And then we start doing, the traveling and more date nights and the giving and things like this. The odds that I'm going to get both of them on that same sheet of music, I've been coaching for a few years and that's just not what I see. But this is just her. So if she's locked in and she's looking at this and she's like, yep, let's crush those 2 cards. Keep in mind, if she doesn't end up using this cushion, maybe that can be a way to incentivize staying on track with your spending, not overspending on food, because that cushion can come right back to her. Okay, for maybe like a little bit of spending money if she doesn't end up needing it. All right, so it's not just, completely tight where there's zero enjoyment for the foreseeable future, but let's let that incentivize her. She's the only stakeholder in her budget. We're going to be aggressive. That's what I would do for October 1st through 14th. Pay off those 2 cards right away. Then we get to the second half of October. This time it's just her paycheck. The veteran benefits are only once a month. This budget is for the 15th through the 31st, so it's just her paycheck from the 15th that we're working with in this budget. Expenses are lower for this budget though. Okay, second half of the month is lighter in terms of expenses. She's got some subscriptions, a couple insurance bills. Okay, her variable spending is captured there. There's about $287 left. And I'm going to say, let's jump. We nourished the emergency fund a little bit in the first half of October. I'd be okay with, we'll pick that back up in November. For now, let's put everything that's left towards the Amex and budget down to 0. Again, very aggressive. Normally, you see, if I'm working with a couple, if I'm working with a household, I do tend to show you something that's a little bit more flexible. Okay, maybe try to get some spending money for each person going on there. But if she can lock in and do this, remember, if she doesn't use the cushion, that can be a little bit of personal spending money, a bit of a reward, if you will, for staying on course with variable spending. This is what tends to hurt us the fastest, is overspending on food, clothes, Amazon, whatever it might be. So this is what I would do to close out October. Remember, we really got to do some work for that Amex because it was at $1,600 to start with. So that's going to be there a little while longer. Here we get into November. First half of November, she's got the paycheck and she's got VA benefits that come in on the 1st. So just like you saw in the beginning of October, where she had about $850 left, that's exactly what we have here. About $850 left to work with after she covers her bills and sets a cushion up. That's just going to sit in her checking account. This is going to look very similar to the beginning of October, where we put a little bit towards the emergency fund. We're not neglecting that. It still needs attention. We still need to grow it. That leaves about $600 as we continue on in the budget. The next thing for us to look at would be extra debt payments. The Amex is still very much alive. Let's be aggressive and put 500 towards that. Okay. And then with 99.62 left, here's what goes through my head. Right now, through October and through as she gets into November, if something happens that she didn't expect, or a bill came up that she was like, oh, shoot, yep, I pay that every like 3 months and I forgot, there it is, or there's my annual Amazon Prime, I forgot about it. If that comes up, if it's a small thing, her cushion can catch it, that's fine. But let's say it were Amazon Prime and it's like $130 that comes out. It's once a year and she forgot about it. She doesn't have savings buckets to cover that, which is normally what you would want. But we're focusing on credit card debt right now. She doesn't have those buckets. She only has an emergency fund. So right now, if something kind of came out of left field or a bill blindsided her because it was annual or quarterly or whatever the case, she would need to tap into the emergency fund. What we want to get her away from is swiping the card, swiping the Capital One and the Amex. One of the ways that we do that is by establishing buckets. So in this, we're going to skip investing for right now because guess what? I want her to save a little bit so she stops swiping the card, the credit card, and not immediately paying it off, right? We do that by establishing buckets. Buckets are for those costs that you anticipate. We know that an oil change is coming. If you're, an Amazon Prime annual subscriber, you know that cost is coming. Credit card annual fees. Pull up your account, see when that's going to come out. You know that those things are coming. So set up buckets for those. Holidays are coming. Make it a bucket. Back to school. Let's make it a bucket. For her, she's not a homeowner. She rents. So home maintenance is not applicable here. But that's usually like the first bucket I tell people to set up. Then the next one is car maintenance. So my logic here with not putting all $599.62 here was if she can start setting up buckets, we can start getting her in that rhythm of using the buckets for exactly what they're used for. Okay, that's what tends to happen. And that's why we swipe our cards, is because something comes up and maybe we go, well, I don't have an emergency fund. Or maybe we say, I don't want to use my emergency fund for that expense. This is not an emergency, so I'll just use my credit card. That's where we start getting into hot water. So here in November, in the first half of November, I want to make the first contribution to a car maintenance bucket. And that would take us down to $0 left to budget. Everything has been budgeted here for the first half of November. So October's focus was paying off the 2 Capital One cards. The first half of November here, we're still focused on those cards. We're going to start saving. And in the second half of November, here's a little bit going towards the emergency fund after she covers her bills and variable spending. And then with this one, my logic is, hey, it's November. It's the second half of November in this budget. The holidays are coming, and I don't want her to swipe her credit card to cover gifts for her family or groceries to host, a holiday meal. We need a bucket, and the bucket will help cover those things. Like, she'll actually have funds set aside for that very thing, and she just transfers that savings back into checking, and then she uses it. That's how buckets are supposed to function. So my logic here is we need to set up the savings buckets so that she can turn to that instead of a credit card and instead of her emergency fund. Because we really want the emergency fund to be for emergencies, right? Good question here from Trisha. Are you opening an account for every bucket? I love this question. So no, you can open one overarching account, ideally a high yield savings account. And I'm going to plug Ally right now. That is my personal online savings bank. That is who I have a high yield savings account with. And they actually use the term savings buckets with their bank. And you can set up, last I checked, you could set up to 10. I bet you it's more now that you can set up in your account. But last I checked, 10 buckets in one high yield savings account. So you could have holidays, back to school, car maintenance, home maintenance, emergency fund, sports for your kids. I mean, you could set up multiple in one account, making it beautifully organized so you can see how much is in every single bucket. You can title it, give it a picture. It's beautiful. So no, you don't have to open an account for every single one. You can just go with a bank that has that type of feature built in. There's another bank, I'm forgetting the name, but they call them vaults. I think it's SoFi. They call them vaults, and same concept. Okay. You've probably heard the term sinking funds. Same concept. That's what we're talking about here. Excellent question. So that gets us, every dollar has been given a job for the second half of November. All right, so stay with me. I'm going to show you through the end of the year, and then we can kind of get off these worksheets. You're probably tired of seeing the same worksheet, trying to digest all of this. But I'll give us a summary here in a second. Here's the first half of December. We are able to completely pay off the Amex at this point. She's been going hard, making extra payments in October and November. This would just seal the deal. Gone, done. Credit card debt free by December 1st. I guess on December 1st, when she gets paid, she could pay this off. Okay. And then, it's like golden, shiny, beautiful. She's going to start investing before the year is up. That's a goal that I'm going to set for her, is set up a Roth IRA and let's get you investing before the turn of the new year. Okay, and Roth IRA is a great place to start. Okay, her employer might offer, probably does offer a plan, but she said there was no match. And so in some cases, folks will just, they'll go with a Roth IRA. You can contribute up to $7,000 in 1 year. At least that's the case for 2024. And so we're gonna put $75 into a Roth IRA. Get that going. And then maybe you can think of it as like celebratory or just however you want to look at it, but just some personal spending money right here written into the budget. This is the first time I'm doing this for her. October, November, December, we're now in December, having a dedicated line here for that. I think it's important there are instances when a short-term grind is very much like it just needs to happen. It's not lost on me that to go and have a budget that's like just these sections, like 1, 2, and 3 for like 2 years, that's not sustainable. You'll lose your mind. You will resent your budget and then you won't follow it. Restriction, just pure restriction, and like, this is where we live. Yes, you can do that for like 3 months, 6 months tops maybe, and then there's gotta be a cool down lap. There's gotta be a situation where you're giving yourself grace, coming up for air, because grinding for the long term is just not sustainable. So that would be the first half of December, and then here's how she would close out the year. Here's her paralegal paycheck. She's got her bills and variable spending. And with this $287 that's left, I'm going to say, let's jump over here to block 6, which is investing, giving, things like this. And this would be a good block to put her holiday spending. Just all the rest of what she's got left can go towards holiday spending. She saved a couple hundred for that in November. So altogether about $487 that she can put towards the holidays. Not bad. That's while demolishing her credit cards within 3 months. And she started investing in the first half of December. I love this. This is incredibly balanced. It's getting after the right stuff at the right time. She's able to come up for air before the year ends. Okay, she's credit card debt free at this point. She had money for the holidays, so she didn't have to swipe her credit card for the holidays. She's got a little bit for car maintenance. Why don't I just write this out? Because especially if you're like just now joining, I can give you a little wrap up here. So can you guys see that? So by the end of 2024, based on the plan that we've kind of written out for her, credit card debt free. Okay, to the tune of like $2,100 paid off in 3 months. Okay, this is 3 months. October, November, December. Credit card debt free. Her emergency fund at year end will be at approximately $2,000. Okay, we're getting there. Like I said, about $487 for the holidays. She saved a little in November, and then she's got some in her December budget built in so that the holidays don't have to go on her credit card. And then we got a nice little start here for car maintenance. Definitely enough to cover an oil change. Okay, we want to get this going too, so we have a little bit there. And she started investing. That was in the first half of December. We got her putting a little bit into a Roth IRA. Okay, and all that entails is going to Vanguard, Fidelity, okay, finding yourself a brokerage, setting up an account, saying, I want to set up a Roth IRA. You enter in some information that gets set up, and then you connect your checking account and you contribute funds. Once those funds are in there, you pick your investments. Okay? But this is like all of this in 3 months because we wrote it down and we made a plan. There are cushions in there. She does have her emergency fund if something were to come up, and we're going to get started really going hard with savings buckets, especially in 2025, which I'm getting ready to show you what that will look like. It's not incredibly rigid. I mean, it's firm. It's pretty strict, but we have safeties built in. Okay, checking account cushion every single budget, every single time. And then getting those buckets built so that we have something to turn to when things come up. Okay, I think I'm going to put this just to the side for a second because I think this will read better if I just show you on a sheet of paper what we're going to do for 2025. And actually, this is a good time to pause and I will mention the giveaways. So last time I just uploaded a picture and it kind of made it my background, which was pretty cool. Okay, I think that worked. There it is. Okay, so the first giveaway is for the Mosaic Wealth Planner for Google Sheets. I give a copy of this away every month or every week during these. That's what I've been doing and I plan to continue. It is the Google Sheet counterpart of this planner. It's like an automatic budget builder. She's fantastic. So here's how this one goes. I'm going to put a word in the comments. I'm going to comment here on the live. This one you have to be live to enter because otherwise you won't even know. If you're watching like the YouTube replay, you're not able to see what I'm doing here. I'm going to comment a word. And I need you to DM me that word within the next 4 hours or so. And that will enter you to win a copy of the Google Sheet version of this. So look for that word, jot it down so that you can DM me that word. I usually let that run for about 4 or 5 hours after the live ends, giving you a chance to enter to win the Mosaic Wealth Planner for Google Sheets. Okay, that's the first one. So the word is there. Hopefully you can see it. And we're now going to mention giveaway 2. There it is. This one is a monthly giveaway. So we're currently in the September version. This is to win a $100 e-gift card. Once this video hits my feed, whether that's on Instagram or YouTube, leave a comment telling me a goal that you have that you want to reach by the end of the year. And that will enter you into the giveaway with a chance to win a $100 e-gift card to the company, brand, what have you, of your choice. Okay, so long as they offer e-gift cards, right? So that's giveaway number 2. If you tag a friend in the comments, that counts as 2 entries. All right, so there's that option as well. You want to increase your chances, but those are the 2 giveaways. All right, I'll pause just for a second to make sure folks got it. You have to scroll up a little bit for the word that I dropped if you're just coming in. All right, I think I'm caught up on questions in the comments. All right, let me go back to current and we will stop sharing. Okay, so here's what I was going to do. So I showed you how closing out 2024, I mean, really incredible stuff that she's going to be able to do by year end if she can stay the course. But what about 2025? What path can we get her on beginning in the new year? So here's the thing, she budgets twice a month. So budget one every single month. After her bills and a cushion are in place, she has about $850 extra to work with. And then in budget two every month, she has about $287 to work with. Again, this is after bills and a cushion are in place in her expenses block. So basically, this is what she has to devote to financial goals and fun. So just say it succinctly, that's what it is. So what's a smart way to go about this? So here's what I would do. For the first budgets every month, I would put $200 towards the emergency fund. I would put $583 a month into her new Roth IRA that she would have set up in November or December. Why 583? That's not a random number. Well, for 2024 at least, they will probably change it for 2025. But for 2024, the maximum that you can put into a Roth IRA in a given year is $7,000. So if you divide that by 12, it's roughly $583 a month that you could put in, and that would put you on pace to max it out by year end. Okay, so I hope if she comes back and watches this live, I hope she checks the IRS website for the 2025 number, because it will probably go up. Okay, and then we can just divide by 12 to figure out what do we need to put in every month to max it out by the end of the year. That's what that figure is. And then I would put personal spending. These could be things like, beauty, money for her hobbies, things like that, 67. So this is what I would do each first half of the month. Over here, I would put $225 to buckets, and the remainder would be personal spending, which is about, 62? All right, so this represents her discretionary income, her discretionary dollars that she can put towards financial goals and fun. So by the end of the year, by the end of 2025, she will have upped her emergency fund by, $2,400 by the end of the year. She will have maxed out a Roth IRA, her Roth IRA for the year, and added $2,700 to her buckets. And she could break this out. I mean, this could look a variety of ways, but here's one example. Holidays could be $700, car maintenance $500, and travel $1,500. I don't know how much she travels, but this is an example of what she could do buckets wise in 2025 at the pace that I'm writing out here. $225 a month. Again, this is very doable for her, and the personal spending is her opportunity to, go to brunch with the girls, whatever it might be, gifts for a friend, right? Throwing a party, that's where this line comes in. Okay, beauty costs, getting your hair done, stuff like that would be these. She mentioned that she earns anywhere from $0 to $200 a month in modeling. Let's say there's a great month where that's $200. Emergency fund would be a great place to put that, grow that even faster. Okay, and then if she sits down and is like, well, my hobbies are kind of expensive, or my beauty costs are a little bit higher than this, we make those adjustments. But this is a sketch of what she could very reasonably do throughout 2025, and some pretty impressive stuff that she could accomplish by year end. Okay. Now, the last thing is the retirement roadmap. So as you look at this breakdown for 2025, the investing piece is right here, the $583 a month into a Roth IRA. So she's 27 at $583 a month. This is good, but here's the reality of that. She wouldn't reach $1 million at this pace at age 27. She wouldn't reach $1 million for another 39 years. Okay. All right. And we all know like $1 million isn't what it used to be. We can't retire with $1 million. So what do we need to do here? So with this, I like to bring in my spreadsheet because it's just so much easier to explain and show when I have a calculator in front of me. But she will need to up her contributions. So extra income from modeling, we can invest that. Maybe bouncing over to an employer that does offer a match. You know, if she job hops and is able to find somebody that does offer a match, that could be 100, 200 bucks a month going towards investing. Okay, because, can you guys see this? Let me zoom in. Let's see. Born in 97. Keep in mind she's getting veteran benefits, and those are like for life. So right now, what was it, like $19.95 a month? It's like $2,000. And it increases every year for like cost of living adjustment. That's for life. So with that in mind, she herself needs to come up with, in today's dollars, let's say 3,000. Oh shoot, my other profile is on there. 3,000 a month in today's dollars would be her contribution, and then the 2,000 could be from the VA. So that way, going into retirement, she'd have $5,000 pre-tax per month in today's dollars when she retired. Okay, and let's say she wants to retire at 55 and have that going for 30 years. What would she need to invest? She would need to be investing $1,484 a month to make that happen. She's at, with the pace that I've got her on, she's at 583. So we need to increase investing by like $900 a month to make this happen. So if she can invest $900 more per month, she will be on track to retire at 55 and have $5,000 a month for 30 years in today's dollars. It will obviously be much more than 5,000 when we get to this point. But that's in today's dollars. That's what this calculator does. So 1,484. So how do we get her from 583 a month right now to 1,484? I mean, that's $900 more. Where is that going to come from? Again, if she can figure out a way to more consistently bring in those modeling gigs and the modeling income, that's a great way to surge her investing. Getting to an employer that does offer a match. Okay. It could be, job hopping to earn a little bit more, right? Additional income streams. Of course, there's lots of ways to do this. She has an existing additional income stream in place. So that's work she's already doing. Let's try to sharpen that. Let's try to get it to where those gigs are more consistent and they're higher paid. That would be where I would focus my efforts. And then, trying to tap into an employer match, salary increase, things like this. But this is the track that it would take. And a lot of this, again, it's not lost on me that like VA benefits kind of changed the conversation, but that is her reality. $2,000 a month is what she's getting in today's dollars, and that she's going to keep getting that. So she just needs to come up with the other part of it for her retirement dollars. She doesn't have to come up with the full 5,000 herself. She just needs to come up with 3,000, and the VA will do the other two. So that's kind of her retirement track that she can strive to work towards to achieve that. All right. Perfect. So I will give us a minute here if there are any last minute questions, anything that you want me to like revisit or explain a little bit deeper, let me know. But my goal with these is to really show in the short term, what do we focus on in this person or in this couple's budget? Like what's the priority in the short term, and then get them on the track that really like yields the retirement roadmap that they would want to be on. Okay. And in this case, right, she's earning $50,000 a year, and then she gets those VA benefits, brings her up to about $75,000 a year. But to get to the point where she's retiring, late 50s, early 60s, retiring early, we've got to up the investing. But getting her started at the end of this year is huge. We got to start somewhere. All right. I myself started investing at 27. That's when I started. Okay. And in my household, we're now on track to retire in our late 40s. So you can do it. It can be done. I'm trying to organize my sheets here. I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover. And I don't see any final questions there. So don't forget about the giveaways. Last chance to scroll up. Oh, somebody said they got bumped off. So I'm going to put the word one more time, give you a chance. If you DM me this word within the next 4 hours or so, you will have the chance to win the Mosaic Wealth Planner for Google Sheets. I give this away each week. If you wanted to buy a house in the next few years, would the budget model change a lot? I would say yes. I mean, buying a house and wanting that's a savings goal that easily gets into the tens of thousands. So it would shift focus away from investing for the next few years, and then not entirely away, but it would reduce investing dollars so that she could make that house happen. So the plan would probably need to be that once she is in that home, you got to be really, really aggressive and have a plan to increase income and those sorts of things to keep the track being retirement in her 50s. So yes, definitely. I know that buying a home is huge. Trying to get to that, down payment savings goal. Just scrolling through one last time. Looks like we are all set. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're watching the recording, glad to have you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you're watching the recording. And I will see you all next week. Thank you so much.